All right, thank you guys for coming to this training. I hope you're going to get a lot out of it. I've put a lot into it. If you don't know me, my name is Ishmael. I am a funding coach. What I do is I help entrepreneur business owners or investors raise capital for whatever they need to raise it for. So I hope you guys go through the process of getting funding and make sure that you are more successful than you could be if you ever did it on your own. I also teach you the process, teach you all the ins and outs of the industry and all the secrets, and so you can actually go and do it again for yourself and for others. All right, let me get my screen up here. All right. All right. So, so this training is for educational purposes. It's not to be taken as like an individual consultation. I do individual consultations. You can contact me on Instagram. You can follow me there, leave your comments, feedbacks, questions, things of that nature on there. If you are ready to get business funding, you need to have, a good personal credit and your business setup. I'll go through that later here in the training, but you want to have your business set up, or if you don't have your business set up, I can show you how to set your business up. But you're definitely going to need good personal credit, and then we can just hop on a Zoom call, see, if we're a good fit to work with each other, and get started right away. So look forward to hearing from you guys. All right. So the training objectives here is going to be to understand the severity of our financial situation. We want to adapt the wealth and abundant mindset. We're going to have actionable steps to make money today. We're going to learn which cards are best to use to operate our trade line business, how to ensure our trade lines are protected against risk management, how to secure your trade lines against theft or fraud, how to scale and automate a six-figure business, trade line business. All right, so who is this going to be for? This is going to be for individuals who make less than $200,000 a year and or you have less than $1 million in assets. This is something that's going to revolutionize you guys and change your life. It helped and did it for me. You need passive income. You need cash to invest in yourself. Maybe looking to learn a high income skill, get a mentorship, buy into a course or something like that. So you need money to invest in yourself. Let's say, or you need to get some money so you can get some business funding. So that's something that we can work on here together. All right. So Fortune magazine says that more than half of Americans ranking in $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. So that's I looked at the stats on that. So that's 18% of Americans who are individuals and 34% of American households are making six figures or more, and half of them are living paycheck to paycheck. All right, so if you are feeling overwhelmed, you feel stuck, you are fed up, need a change, you live paycheck to paycheck, you lack information or direction, lack opportunity, you want control of your life, better options for your family, you have dreams, goals, aspirations, um, you need to get your business off the ground, you just don't know, you're on the wrong side of inequality, which is most of Americans these days. So what are the stats showing? So the all right, so the stats are showing that 52% of Americans need $100,000 to be financially comfortable, and 26% of Americans say they need more than $100,000 to feel financially comfortable. All 50 states require $100,000 for a family of four. So if you are a couple raising your two children, you both need to be making at least $50,000 a year. Student loan debt has reached a record high. 62% of millennials and 63% of Gen Z believe homeownership is the American dream. 66% say inflation leaves them feeling hopeless about ever owning a home. 72% say they cannot afford the down payment. 62% say loans delay their ability to save. Over 25% of Americans are doomsday spending. This is pretty much when you are working hard day to day and you're not seeing much change in your situation. So anytime you get any type of additional money or anything like that, or you just go take money, credit cards or whatever, and you just go buy things to have some type of instant gratification to feel better about the work that you're putting in, but you're not getting a lot of results from it. All right, so 73% of Gen Z say the economy makes it difficult to set up long-term goals. All right, so things we want to stop. So we want to stop listening to people that aren't where we want to be. This could be friends, family, entrepreneurs, or influencers. This also means that who we want to be as people, as we are seeking out role models and mentors that are flourishing and progressing and going after things in life. There are friends and family that love us to death, and they think that they're doing the right things by telling us to, not go for our dreams, not do things, to be scared, and have this scarcity and contracting type mindset. Um, and we want to stop listening to like influencers that are giving us bad advice, bad information. We want to stop abusing our credit because credit is the access to new money, the money that we're going to need to get assets, to get buy income streams, and to change things for ourselves. We want to stop being disorganized with our money, so we want to know what's going in, what's coming in, and what's going out. We want to stop looking rich instead of being rich. So we want to actually uh, use our credit to go out again, get those assets, so we can bring in the income we need, so we can, get the clothes and the travel and the cars and keep up with the different trends and things like that, right? We want to stop being unprepared for life. So a lot of us are working day to day. We are putting in, the time and we're trying to, get our head above water. And just when we feel like we just made it there, something happens, right? Uh, you know, Someone could pass away, the car breaks down, the an appliance goes out, or, just something happens, right? Someone needs to borrow money, and then we're right back to where we started from. All right, so the middle class trap. So things that keep people trapped in the middle class is you spend too much money, too much time around people that are poor, and this is a poor mindset, poor spiritually, poor mentally, and also poor financially. You use credit for debt instead of income. You put your life into a job versus a business. You don't invest. You don't own your value. You don't earn your worth. You pay the most in taxes. And most people don't understand that there's no employer that can pay you what you're worth without them going out of business. And there's only two ways that the government can raise taxes, and they only raise taxes on the middle class. So there's two ways. So one of the ways they raise it directly on the middle class, or they'll pass the burden to the corporations and the wealthy to pass that down to the middle class. But the middle class is always going to be the one footing the bill, no matter what a politician says about the wealthy or the corporations paying their fair share. That is a sign to tell you that they're going to pass the burden to the corporations to tax you and to raise prices on you to get more money out of you, right? So again, it's always the middle class that's getting squeezed, and you depend on one income. So ask yourself why for every bill that comes to the mail, there's not a check that coming right behind it. Why for every bill that comes in the mail, there's not a check coming in right behind it. You value high credit score over high net worth. So when I started to find myself around people um, that were doing like a lot better than me, that had money, that had high net worth businesses that were doing well in life, many of them actually had bad credit. They had bad personal credit, but they valued the high income skills that they had. They valued the assets they were having, the real estate that they were buying, their investments, their stocks, all these different vehicles that they were using to accumulate wealth. They value those because they can always take those things to the bank to get leverage to go get more wealth. So they wasn't really concerned about a credit score, right? So many of them just had terrible personal credit, but they had high income and high net worth. All right, so half of Americans need credit cards to cover essential living expenses. Americans lean more on credit cards to as expenses stay high. 46% of cardholders now carry a debt from month to month. All right, so this here is a chart that shows credit card debt going into COVID. During COVID, it dropped down, and then coming out of COVID, it skyrocketed above where it was even before we went into COVID because of so much high inflation. All right, so class mobility myths. So these are the things that we hear that we know that have been debunked through experience and through history. As we see, none of this stuff is really working the way that people they tell us that it is supposed to work. So go to school, get a job, buy a house. You can easily change your life with hard work and education. You have an equal playing field here in America. Um, And then the stats on class mobility is 70% of the lower class will never make it to the middle class. So we have a permanent underclass here in America. Class mobility is linked to our parents. Less than 50% of millennials will earn more than their parents. Your parents' social inequality is passed down to you. So the barriers and things that your parents went through are going to be passed down to you. You're most likely going to hit those same walls, and it costs more to be poor. All right, so the statistics. So 72% of Americans say they are not financially secure. 26% of Americans say they'll never be financially secure. 61% of Americans say they live paycheck to paycheck. 40% of Americans say insufficient retirement funds or emergency savings is the reason for their financial insecurity. So, what do we believe money is for? So, poor people believe money is for paying bills and buying stuff. So, basically, just be a consumer. The middle class earn money to make payments on their lifestyle, and the rich use money to accumulate more money. All right, so financial freedom versus financial independence. So when I started getting around mentors and people that were wealthy and I started to learn from them, they taught me about financial independence over financial freedom. So financial freedom is having enough savings, investment, and cash on hand to afford the lifestyle you want for yourself and for your family. So you could be making $40,000 a year, and as long as what you're bringing in can support your $40,000 a year lifestyle, then you're financially free. You're financially free from financial burden, right? But to be financial independent, being enough to free one from the necessity of working for a living, not subject to control by others, is the status of having sufficient income or wealth to pay one's living expenses for the rest of one's life, not having to be employed or dependent on others. Income earned without having to work a job is commonly referred to as passive income. So there's a big difference between financial freedom, and financial independence. And financial independence is something that when I learned this and understood this, it really changed how I set my goals and what I wanted for myself. All right, so they say the statistics and are showing that Gen Z is broke. So what they're seeing from surveys and from data and stats is showing that on average, Gen Z graduates with 21,000 in student loans. It will take Gen Z 21 years to pay off their student loans. 48% feel behind financially compared to 59% of millennials, and 45% of Gen Z actually have a second job. All right, so stats on retirement. So in 2024, Americans estimate 1.5 million is needed for retirement, which is most people are not even close to that, up from 951,000 in 2020. So every year, the amount you need to retire is increasing faster than your ability to earn or save money. Income is projected to increase about 3.2% but inflation is at 22%. Um, the need for for more income has more than doubled the rate of wages. Americans have less of the ability to build wealth due to the increased cost of rent, groceries, travel, cars, etc. Right? Everything's going up. The Social Security fund is paying out more than it takes in. So if you don't know, then you should know by now that Social Security will be coming to an end soon. That's something that's going back and forth in the government, how they plan on, rolling that out. High yield savings accounts cannot beat inflation. And as we know, as we've seen story after story, pension funds are going insolvent. All right, so the middle class is dying. So the stats on this is 33% of middle income adults can afford a $400 emergency. Cost of housing, healthcare, college have reached record highs while wages lag far behind. Household with income of $100,000 are in financial distress due to taxes, insurance, student loans, and high cost of living. The middle class is 1 trillion in credit card debt and 1.7 trillion in student loan debt. 23% of new homeowners can afford the taxes and maintenance. So, what is wages and jobs saying? So, a third of American workers say inflation outpaced any salary increase. 45, 45.3 million workers will lose their jobs due to automation by year 2030. AI is replacing millions of administrative, legal, accounting, financial assistance, diagnostic medical roles, and engineering jobs. 22% don't have the option to change jobs for pay increase. Educated Americans are competing with third world countries. Um, 60% of labor markets are highly concentrated. Huge firms dominate the market. And as we know, union workers have dropped down to 10%. So unions are not as strong as they used to be. All right. So income. Active income is defined as salary earned from specific duties or services rendered according to an agreed task within a specific time frame. Examples of active income are salaries, tips, fees, commissions, and allowances from the company you provide services to. Passive income is money from activities you are uh, passive income is money from activities where you have no active or direct involvement. These may be investments where you earn money or work you have done in the past that continues to pay you. In short, passive income describes the idea of making money work for you. All right, so when I first was introduced to the consulting company that I worked for to learn about doing funding, I was working in property management and I was pretty much living paycheck to paycheck. And when I started working for this company, after I pretty much hired them to fix my credit and help me get capital, um, the owner, I was the assistant to the president of the company. And so what he did was the credit cards they had helped me get, he showed me how I could start making money from those credit cards. And from the money I was making from those credit cards, it actually started to put a financial cushion for me so I can stop living paycheck to paycheck. So the money I was making from the trade line business was paying for like my rent. It helped me to buy my dream car, this BMW you see right here. I was able to buy this no money down. And the trade line business actually paid for the car, right? So I didn't pay anything out of pocket to buy the car or to have the car. And I was able to travel. I was able to go out. I was able to, afford nicer things and just have just a better experience with life because I wasn't so tight with money, and all because of learning this trade line business and learning how to raise capital and do funding, right? But the trade line business is what really what made the big difference for me in the beginning as I was learning about how to do funding. All right, so now let's get into the trade line business. All right, so a trade line is a record of a borrower's credit activity. Each credit account on a borrower's credit report has its own trade line. All right, so a trade line is another name for an account listed on your credit reports. Trade lines include several pieces of information that can indicate how you manage your debt. So these are the pieces of information that will be involved in trade lines. So lender's name and address, type of account, partial account number, the current status, date the account was open, date the account was closed, date of last activity, current balance, original loan amount or credit line, monthly payment, recent balance, and payment history. All right, so an authorized user is a secondary cardholder. The authorized user is added and removed by the primary cardholder. The card issuer reports the trade line to the authorized user's consumer report. This will help the authorized user build credit and establish a relationship with that bank. The primary card holder has control over the spending limit, and if the AU or the authorized user is issued a physical card, parents can add their children as an AU so they can have established credit by the age of 18. And you can start that as young as 13. So, what does experience say about authorized user? So, um, you can also improve your credit by joining a trusted family member's or friend's credit card account as an authorized user. You'll be able to use the card to make purchases, and the card's payment history will show up on your credit report. So again, you can issue the personal card if you want to, but as a trade line business, we will not be issuing out the card. All right. So what does Chase Bank say about authorized users? All right. So who can be an authorized user? Authorized users are typically family members, legal guardians, or trusted individuals of card holders, but anyone can become an authorized user on another's credit card. Let's read that again. But anyone can become an authorized user on another's credit card. So this is what Experian telling you. Say, hey, authorized users can help your credit, and also Chase Bank is telling you it's okay to have authorized users and to add authorized users. All right. So if you have teams, this is a list of credit card issuers that will allow you to add your teens onto your credit cards from the age of 13 to 18. And again, you'll just add them on there. You'll manage the card well, and by the time they turn 18, they'll have great credit. And then from that point, they can go ahead and continue on to build their credit. So you can set them out into the world with good finances and the ability to go out there and get capital. All right, so for the trade line business, these are cards. This is not the only cards, and you can do testing on other cards, but these are the ones that we found to be consistent and good for a trade line business. So, one of the cards on here that I hear a lot of chit chat about, as far as especially on social media, is about the American Express. So, if you have a client that's looking to get funding, American Express is not the best card for them. But if they're looking to get positive accounts, add positive accounts to their credit report, or they're looking to get into the American Express family because they're looking to get an American Express at some point, and also if they're looking to get business funded through American Express, if they're looking to rent an apartment, they're looking to buy a car, they're looking to again build out their credit report. American Express is great for those type of clients. But if they're specifically, or if they're looking to even buy a house, but if because American Express doesn't report out the past payment history. So once you add them on as an authorized user and you continue to maintain that card in good standing, they will gain payment history over time, but it doesn't report out past payment history. So American Express is still can be used to sell for trade lines and make money, but again, you want to make sure you understand that that you don't want to do an American Express for a person that is looking to, get funding. If they're looking to do other things, American Express will work fine, but not for someone who's looking to get funding. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so how do you add an authorized user? All right, so you will need the person's full legal name, their social security number, address, and date of birth. You can add them over the phone or online. Some credit cards only allow you to remove an unauthorized user over the phone. On the reporting date, the bank will furnish the trade line to their credit report. If you add the person too close to the reporting date, it may not report out until the next cycle. So, and then remove the AU after the second reporting date. So, what that means is that let's say the statement date closes on the 15th, and they're going to report that trade line out either on the 15th, 16th, or 17th, somewhere around up in there, right? Now, let's say you add the trade line on the 15th or the 14th, and it's too close for their systems to pick that information up and send it out to that to your client's credit report. So you want to do at least, to be safe, 2 weeks, but at least a week in advance, so that information can be in their system and it picks it up and it's going to send it out to that person's credit report. If you add it too close to that reporting date, it's likely not going to report out that particular cycle, but on the next reporting date, it'll report out. All right. And all right, so do not add trade lines to every credit report that you come across, right? All money is not good money. So what we want to do is we want to view all three credit reports. We want to look for derogatory accounts, late payments, charge-offs, bankruptcies, uh, 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 collection accounts, anything that's derogatory on there. We want to look for that stuff. People are miseducated in thinking that trade lines is going to make their bad credit good credit because someone got a trade line and it boosted their credit score up. And they have a low credit score because they have bad credit. And they think, oh, if I just go get a trade line, I'm going to have good credit. But it doesn't work like that. If they have maxed out credit cards, they may think that um, since their credit cards are maxed out and their credit score tanked, that they can just go add a trade line on. It's going to add more available credit, which will increase their score. Now, technically, yes, this is true, but if that person is going to go get funding, the underwriting systems are going to look through each individual account, each individual credit card. They're going to look at the limit and they're going to look at how much you're using on that card. If you have maxed out credit cards, even with trade lines, you'll still get denied for funding. All right, then you want to look for if they already have open authorized user accounts. They can have closed authorized user accounts, but if they have open authorized users accounts, this you want to ask, okay, well, why are you coming to me for trade lines if you already have trade lines? And you want to know, okay, well, did you purchase these trade lines from a broker? Are these friends and are these their family? Where did you get these trade lines from? Are you going to keep these trade lines? Um, Having too many trade lines on a credit report is considered synthetic credit fraud, and that will cause them to be automatically denied if they're going to go get funding. So if they have some, trash or mediocre trade lines, they can get removed off those cards, and then they can be added on to your cards. But you definitely want to check that out and make sure like if they already have, because the max authorized user trade lines you want to have in your credit report is actually two. When you go above that, you start looking sketchy. So, and then you cannot guarantee a certain, number of points that the credit score is going to boost or that they're going to have a certain credit score. You cannot guarantee that. The more you learn this, you can predict it, you can ballpark it, you can gauge it, but you can't guarantee a specific number or points or things like that. All right, so how do you price your trade lines? So, price is based on the bank tier. So whether it's a tier one, tier two, three, or four, which will be a national bank, regional bank, uh, credit unions, and then local banks and community banks, or yeah, local banks and community banks or consumer accounts, right? So I was actually selling trade lines on Chase, which is a tier one national bank. I was selling trade lines on Discover. Also, my Macy's card, store card, that worked because that was through Synchrony Bank, which would be a tier four bank, and also Banana Republic card. That worked out very well because it had a good limit, and I was able to make money off it. So I was able to make money off a lot of different things, right? So typically, trade lines are going to be priced between 350 to 750. When I started selling trade lines, we sold them for a flat rate of 750 a piece. And typically, people will buy two at a time. So each customer will be paying about 1,500 per, for a bundle of trade lines, right? So if you're selling as individuals, that would be, 1750 or 3750 per round. Prices can easily go above 2000. So if you have like very old accounts, like over 10 years, and you have also limits on those cards that are above like 20, 30, $40,000, then yeah, those can go up to be, like 1,000, 1,500, $2,000 for each one of those trade lines. So you can really make good money with trade lines, the stronger the trade lines are. Another thing is you don't want to add a trade line that is older than the person. And you don't want to add a trade line that is uh, older than they would have been at age 18. So let's say the person is 25, and so that means there's 7 years between 25 and 18, and you put a trade line on their credit report that's 9 years old. Well, that wouldn't make sense. It'll cause, it'll raise eyebrows, right? Just doesn't make sense. So we want to add trade lines that make sense on their credit reports. So for these are websites you can go on to check prices for trade lines, to buy trade lines. You can also become brokers with these companies. So basically, what you'll do is you'll pay like an upfront fee to get the discounted rate for the trade lines, and then you can just turn around and resell them. You're pretty much just doing the marketing, and then you can add the people onto the trade lines, and you make the difference. So typically, with the wholesale amount, you'll be paying like a third of what you can retail it for. So you have a pretty good margin there to make money. All right, so here is an example of how you can make six figures with a trade line business. So each round will be two bill cycles, which is 60 days. Let's say you just have five credit cards, and credit cards, the authorized user slots can go from 5, 10 to 15, and some even have 100, depending on which credit card you're going with. But let's just say, just to be modest, let's say you just have five credit cards, and each one only allows five slots, right? So on the first round that you'll do that, you'll have 25 slots to fill. And again, um, people usually buy two at a time, so this is not 25 individual people, right? So it's really about it's less than what, like 12, about 12 people on average, right? 12, 13 people, and you'll add the trade lines on. All right, so the first round, you add the people on, you make $13,750. The second round, you take those people off, you add another round of people on. Or sometimes people want to stay on, you just charge them again. So they pay again to stay on for another round, another 60 days. So at that point, you would have made 27,500. Third round, you would have made 41,250. Fifth round, $55,000. I mean, fourth round, $55,000. The fifth round, you would have made $68,750, and the sixth round, $82,500. Now, this is just on five credit cards that only have five slots, and every 60 days, you're switching those 12 to 13 people out. All right, so let's say if you had 10 credit cards with five slots or five credit cards with 10 slots. So, and you're again, we're charging an average, let's say 550, which is a very, very reasonable price for a trade line. So let's say 550, right? So if we're doubling that and we're going for 50 slots, which will be 25 people every 60 days, the first round you'll make $27,500. So since I was selling so many, I was doing all my cards. I was doing Chase City, Discover, the Synchrony cards, American Express. I was doing all the cards, right? So from that money I was making, like from the first round to do like something like $27,000, 500, like it only takes you about, let's say about an hour to log into your credit card account and just add in a person's name, address, date of birth, and social security number. Save. Go to the next one. Name, social security number, birth date. Save. Go to the next one. Type in the name. Type in the address, social security number, and date of birth. Save. And go to like you can literally spend like about an hour doing that, and you would have made over $27,000 doing that in the hour. And that's just how powerful this was for me and how powerful credit, like having credit is and having good credit and knowing how to make money from your credit. This stuff is just so powerful. All right, so second round, you would have made $55,000. Third round, 82.5. 10th round, over $100,000, $110,000 by the fourth round. And keep in mind, like these rounds, like you're doing this six times in 12 months. You're not doing this every other week. You're not doing this every month. You're doing this only six times. So that's 6 hours in 12 months to make up to upwards of $165,000. Think about how much work you do in 6 hours, a 6 hour workday versus 6 hours in a year to make $165,000. Like this stuff is so powerful, man. This stuff is life changing, and only if more of us knew about it. But when I learned this, and I just found myself just having so much additional money. I was like, man, this is crazy, But that really changed things for me. That really changed things for me. All right, so let's go through how we're going to be, setting up our trade line business and also best practices. All right, so one is do not issue a physical card to the authorized user client. Um, when you add online or when you call in and add it, you'll have a box where you can check to send a card or not send a card. Obviously, you're going to check not to send the card. You're going to let the rep know over the phone if you do it over the phone that you're not going to do not send a card to them. Note on the account to not issue a card to them. If Okay, and then also you're going to reduce the credit limit to the spending limit to $50 or as low as possible. So the card's credit limit could be $10,000, but you'll reduce the spending amount or what they can spend on that card to $50 or to as low as possible. So just in case they find some type of way to get a card or get access to that line or whatever, and they're trying to go, run it up or whatever and scam, um, they'll only be able to get $50. And if you're only charging 550, you still come out on top because you have $500, to the positive. And once you realize that, you'll be notified right away, and you can remove them off of the card and just replace them with somebody else and make another $550, right? Just that simple. You don't have to be stressed out about it. All right. And then you want to change the card statements due dates, the card statement dates to the same date. So the first of 15, for example. So let's say you have five different cards or more than that. And instead of managing, this card is due on the 7th, this card is on the 18th, this card is on the 9th, this card is on the 1st, this card is on the 20th. Like instead of like trying to manage all these different dates, you can actually move those statement dates all to the same date. So you can just go the same date every year. Okay, by this date I need to have all my AU people ready to go, so I can just pop them on all in the same day. And I know, in a couple of days or in a week or something like that, they're gonna report out, and everybody's gonna get their trade line, right? So that's a way that you can manage that. Then you want to change for your own personal card. You want to change the billing address to a virtual address. Because you want to do this because when you add someone onto your credit card, your personal credit card, your home address or your billing address is going to show up on their credit report. So just for privacy purposes and also to protect yourself, just protective measure, you can go get a virtual address, a virtual mailbox, and you can have your those billing statements sent to that virtual address. All right, and then you want to set up a separate bank account and payment processors. So you don't want to be, zelling money or this to your personal checking account, just in case there's any type of discrepancies. You have to file a report or something like that, or anything happens or whatever. Someone try to do a chargeback or something like that, or claim something or whatever, and they, freeze the account to do an investigation. Your personal account will be fine. You'll still be able to spend money and go about your life, but you'll have a separate account where that money, when that money comes into, you can move it out of that account. But you have a separate account that is, either in a business name or just a separate account, and you have payment processors like Stripe or what's the other one? PayPal or something like that that's going to that account, right? So again, if anything happens with those processors, any type of anything comes up, any issues, whatever, they're not freezing your personal accounts and all your personal money, right? You can still pay your bills and go about and do your thing, right? And then you want to set up an e-signature account like a PandaDoc or DocuSign, and you want to have your service agreement with your refund policy. Now, for the refund policy, if you're having an issue with getting that trade line to populate on that person's credit report, again, there could be various reasons why it doesn't populate onto that person's credit report. It could be something they have done. They could have froze, bureaus or different or credit report agencies, I should say, or they could have gone through credit repair. They could have done all kind of different things that is preventing that trade line to populate onto their credit report. So what you'll do is if it's not working, you'll take them off that trade line, try a different one to get it to populate. If it still doesn't work, then just go ahead and just refund them their money. You want to look at their current before you refund them money. You want to look at their current credit report after the bills, the statement date and the reporting date goes out. You want to, about a couple days after that, you just want to look at their credit report, make sure that their trade line is not reporting. It did not report, none of the trade lines reported. And if it did not report, just go ahead and give them their money back because it's not worth the headache. There's plenty of more people out there that need trade lines and that need help with their credit, more than you can ever possibly reach. So don't even worry about that. All money ain't good money. All right. So most clients want a two trade line bundle. So again, if you are selling trade lines, it's very uncommon for someone to just want one trade line or someone to just sell one trade line. You're usually selling two at a time. And so you're actually, you're doubling your money. You're not just selling one at a time. And you can bundle it. So let's say you are charging 550. You can bundle and say, hey, if you buy two, you can get them both at 1,000 versus 1,100. Again, I sold them at 750 a piece for the entry level ones. And so that's $1,500 um, per client. And if they bought those trade lines, we would offer some type of, credit pair or something like that to kind of just sweeten the deal. But you don't have to do that. Okay, but you can partner with a credit pair company, and as people are coming to you with bad credit, thinking trade lines is going to fix their bad credit, you can say, no, I cannot give you a trade line right now because you got these accounts, these issues on your credit report. Let me set you up with my, credit repair partner. Um, you know, they'll pay them. You'll get like a referral, for that, and then they'll come back to you, and then you can put the trade lines on, right? Um, Way to increase your income would be to invest in an automated credit repair software. So basically, what this can be like factual disputing or consumer law or Metro 2 software, where the software will log into their credit report every month, pull their new credit report, and it will automatically populate unique dispute letters. It'll put the accounts on there that's been disputed, and you can either print those off and mail them out yourself, or you can hire a mailing service to print those off and mail them out. Um, every month you'll have to go in, like log into your software and just keep up, stay up to date on, whoever needs, well, not every month, but pretty much every day you'll need to log in and just see, okay, who needs to be, processed today. You can hire a virtual assistant to just log in every day, go through, making sure that, the credit reports are being pulled, that the letters are being generated, and that they're being mailed out. So you can actually have a fully automated credit repair business, bringing in money, and so they'll pay you for credit repair, and then once the credit repair is done, then they'll pay you for the trade lines. What we used to do is we would bundle all that together. So if they need a credit repair, we bundle it all together at one price. They'll pay upfront one price. We'll go through the credit repair, and then we pop on the trade lines after that. All right. So once their uh, credit is clean, their trade lines are on, their credit score is high, they're happy. Now you can offer them funding. You can invest in like a funding community or a funding course, or a person like me who does coaching for funding. I can teach you how to do the funding. And which is I do anyway. When I take you through the funding process, I teach you actually how to do funding, how to fund your business, and then how to fund it again and again and again without me, right? So that's a benefit that you get with work with me as far as being your funding coach. All right, and then with that is, so let's say you get them $50,000, you charge them either a flat rate like I do, or like a reasonable flat rate, or you charge them 10% on the back end, which most funding companies do, right? So let's say you get the $50,000, that's $5,000 on the back end, plus whatever you charge them on the front end. Or if you get them, let's say you get them $100,000, and that's $10,000 plus the cost of the trade lines plus the credit pair, right? And they're happy because again, they got clean credit, they got a great credit score, and now they got funding, now they got money, right? So you can make a lot of money leveraging the trade line business. All right. So you want to review the credit reports for potential trade lines you can like sell or broker, and these are called donors. So as people are coming to you to buy trade lines, they may already have credit cards on their credit report that they don't know that are good accounts for trade lines. So these could be um, people that are coming to you for whatever reasons that they want to get trade lines for, right? But let's say they have one or two credit cards on their credit report that they've managed well, no late payments. They have, a pretty good limit on them. They had them for at least 2 years. You can ask them, say, hey, how would you feel if I paid you $1,000 for you to add some authorized users onto your account every couple bill cycles? Like, would you be open to make an extra $1,000 or extra $500 a month? That could be life changes. That can help with people's rent. That can pay a car note. That can pay auto insurance. That can pay bills. That can do a lot for people. An additional, it can put food in the refrigerator. It could pay for childcare. It can pay for a lot of different things. So you can say, how about I pay you, $500 a month, or I pay you, $1,000 every other month to add, a couple of authorized users onto your credit card. The thing is that you have to manage the card well. You can't, go out max the card out. You can't be using the card. When I add the authorized users on, you've got to keep the card as is. You can't use the card. I'll give you cash so you can use the cash to go do whatever you got to do, but you can't use this card. Use a different card. All right. So, because they want to keep the utilization down, you want to make sure that they're managing the account well. Because if that account goes bad, that bad credit is going to go into your client's credit report, and then they would be pissed off, right? All right. So you can find donors that way, and you can negotiate whatever. I'll pay you $150 per name, per person that you add on. Again, this is money that they didn't have before. This is the money that they didn't know that they can make before, right? So you're helping them out while they're helping you out. All right, so try to bundle trade lines from the same donor. So again, you want to do this because when you add a trade line onto someone's credit report, again, it's going to populate an address on that credit report. If that person is going for funding, having too many addresses could be like a red flag. So we want to make sure that if we're going to add them on, we add on two trade lines from the same donor, so only one address populates. And then once they're done with that trade line, and then you remove them off that, they can remove that address off their credit report. All right, so confirm that the donor account is in good standing before you add a trade line. So again, you want to log into um, their Experian or Credit Karma or whatever, and you want to make sure that you know the trade line before you add a person onto a donor account. You want to log into their credit and look to see and confirm with them that have you used this card? What is the utilization at? You've been paying on time, right? And you can look through to see if there's any negative derogatory information on that account before you add someone on, right? So definitely want to make sure you're doing that. If the trade line doesn't post to the credit reporting agency, it's because the address of the primary account holder didn't populate to the client's consumer report. There are many ways to populate the address, but the fastest way is to have the client call and add the address to the consumer report. So yeah, there are many ways. The address is the most important thing of how to get that trade line onto the credit report. So let's say that it doesn't populate, the address doesn't populate on, so the trade line doesn't go on. You can either log into their credit against Experian.com or TransUnion, whatever, CreditKarma.com, and you can add that address in online, or you can have them call and say, hey, I noticed that, an address is, not on my credit report, and then don't have them remove it, the real current address. Just say, hey, can you add this address onto my credit report? Simple as that. Just say, can you add this address onto my current credit report, and give them the address. They add it on there, and that'll help it to populate. All right. So when bundling trade lines, one card should be older with an average limit, and a younger card with a higher limit. So an example of this, when we're adding trade lines on, we want to um, make it like we want to simulate that is as if these were their personal cards, and even though lenders can see that they're not, but this is the best way how to get those get a stable report, and also how to boost the scores up the way we need them to. So let's say we'll have an older account with like an average, credit limit, say $6,000, something like that, 8 years, 10 years, $7,000, right? Available credit and credit limit. And then you'll have a younger car, which is like 5 years old, but that is like 15,000 or 20,000. So it's showing that, okay, you've had an older car that was managed well, and you received a newer car with a higher limit that's also being managed well. So that feeds into the algorithm, which helps to maximize the points they're going to get for the trade lines. All right, so sources you can get referrals to sell your trade lines is going to be mortgage brokers, real estate agents, car salesmen, real estate investors, tax preparers, barbershops, salons, social media posting, small business owners, funding companies, attorneys, family and friends, apartment leasing staff, furniture stores, staff, and also credit repair agents. So you can go to all of them. They have credit repair agents. Obviously, they're working with people's credit. They want to boost their scores. Real estate agents, they're looking for people who are looking to rent or buy homes. They need to boost their scores. Car salesmen, they're looking to sell more cars and get better rates on loans for the people. So all of these, and these are not the only sources, but this is a good sources for you to go and ask for referrals. Say, hey, if you got clients that that trying to need help with their credit, trying to boost their credit scores up, I got trade lines I can add on that can boost their credit scores up for whatever they're looking to do. Attorneys may have, people going through a divorce or something like that, or, something's going on, and they need to, boost their credit score to go get another house, or to move or do something, or get another car or whatever. Something's going on, right? So there's a lot of different sources out there where you can get referrals for your trade line business. All right, so risk management is going to be important. So risk management monitors account transaction and behavior. Adding so many authorized users is unusual behavior and could be seen as high risk or fraudulent activity. You want to call the credit card provider, ask for risk management, and then let them know about how many AUs you will be adding to your card. You want to also do this with the donors, especially if you are frequently using them or you are loading them up a lot. But if you're like just doing like two or three people and you're not adding on to those donor cards every cycle, one person, that's not like that's not going to raise like some huge flags. But if you're maxing out the amount of people that you can add on as authorized users and you're switching them out like clockwork, then that is going to be picked up by risk management. So you basically want to explain why your account will be having, this kind of activity. Ask the rep, again, we're not asking for permission. We're just, again, ask the rep, is that okay? If I'm adding, this on, if that's not against, any rules or anything like that. You just, again, your call is being recorded. So you're actually coaching them into saying, oh, no, it's okay. You can do this. So, that works in your favor if you're ever going to account review, right? So, all right, so then yeah, so ask the rep is okay, and notate and have that notated in your make sure that is notated on your account that you're going to have this activity. If your account goes under further review, they can refer back to the recorded call and account notes. So basically, what you want to let risk management know is that yeah, I'm going to be having a bunch of people being added on and taken off. The reason why is because, hey, I work with a non-for-profit. I have a non. I work with non-for-profit. I have a non-for-profit reentry program where people are coming out. They come into a halfway house, and I instead of me going to take them to go, shopping for toiletries and different things like that to get them set up, I usually just I can issue them a card for a month or two while they're in the halfway house and before they, transition on to whatever else they're going to go, and they can go get their toiletries and toothpaste and whatever they need, right? Or I am working with the migrants. I am helping them getting on their feet, do different things or whatever, you can just just let them know like there's, a logical activity or things that's going on that, why this is happening, like why you're, adding and removing so many people so frequently. And so as long as they have that account notes, like you're good to go, you're set, right? So that protects your cards, and also if you're using donor cards. If you're going online and you're using like TradelineSupply.com for example, you don't have to do nothing. You just pay to be a broker, become a broker for them, and you can just resell those trade lines, however you want. You don't have to do anything because they handle all of that on their end. All right. So, if you need to get business funding, again, that's what I do. I do 0% interest business funding. What that looks like is we want to have our credit in good order. We want to have good payment history. We want to have low utilization, no derogatories. We want to have good age on our credit reports. A minimum of 5 years. You can get away with 4.5, but minimum of 5 years. We want to have 10 plus credit accounts and then no inquiries. But if you do have inquiries, none, like no more than three within the last 6 months. So with our credit report in good shape and we have a good credit score, we want to make sure that we have our business set up right and in good shape. So no personal phones, no home addresses, no. We want to make sure our website, if we got one that's aged. How you do that is you just take your website and you just send out a mass text to everybody in your phone or your email list and say, hey, hey, check out my website, tell me what you think about it. At least 30 people will click on it and take a look at it. At that point, you'll have a good number of hits on the website so that it doesn't look like a brand new website because they have systems that check that on the back end. Okay, you want to have your business email domain. So no business name at gmail.com. You want to have info or your name at businessname.com, right? Get your EIN number from the IRS. That's free. Have your articles of incorporations in good standing, ready to go. open your business bank account, and you want to pick a low risk SIC and NAICS code. You want to have that ready to go as well because you don't want the on the application or the banks to ask you what your business does. You tell them, hey, I'm in this industry and this is my code. You want to give them the code, right? And then, set up your social media accounts, Instagram, TikTok, your Facebook business page, and LinkedIn or wherever else you need to set up as far as for social media. And then, make sure that, your business is findable on Yelp, 411, and also Google. If your business is not findable, it is not fundable. If you need assistance with any of this stuff, Busy, you can go on busy.com and they'll help you set up your business, and they'll charge you the Secretary of State fee plus a small fee for them to to do this for you. So if you don't want to do it yourself, and you can you just pick the standard package. If you need to buy domains like email addresses and website domains, you get those from GoDaddy.com. All right, and then we'll just schedule a Zoom call. On the Zoom call, again, we want to before we book the Zoom call, we want to make sure we establish that okay, you have your credit is in position to get funding, your business is set up properly, it's in position to get funding, and you need funding. So the Zoom call is not to determine if you need funding. The Zoom call is so I can see, okay, how much money do you need? What type of business are you in? And is this the best option for you? And are we a good fit to work together, right? And if all that works out, in our Zoom call, right on the Zoom call, you go ahead and make your payment to me to hire me as your funding coach. And then you'll sign your document right there on the Zoom call. And then you'll schedule your onboarding, which is when we will go more in depth into your business and make sure that everything is set up right, check out your credit reports, and then from that I'll be able to take that data and I'll be able to create your own like unique funding strategy, and then I'll take you through the funding strategy. I'll teach you everything about the funding strategy. And then I'll also teach you how you can do your second round on your own without me, right? And I don't take any back end fees, any of those big back end fees, 10%, 15%, 20%. I don't do that. Again, I just charge a reasonable upfront fee to be your coach and take you through the process, and you can get as much money as you want to. When people are charging you on the back end, we find that people are hesitant to get more funding because they feel like this bill I have to pay them is getting bigger and bigger the more funding they get me. So with this way, you can feel comfortable going after as much funding as you want on the first round. You can, have me help you through as many applications or as much of the process on the first round, so you feel comfortable going through the second round on your own and getting those same or even better results. All right. So um, you can check me out on Instagram, message me there, follow me there, comment, feedback on the Tradeline business. What did you think about it? Is it something that you're going to be implementing right away? Is it something that can help you make money to help position you? Or, what can this do for you, right? So, hey, let me know. This helps a lot, and also it helps me give me good ideas to make, future trainings and ways for you guys to make money using credit. All right. Well. All right, let's go ahead and all right. So thanks a lot, guys. Again, make sure you check me out on Instagram, and I appreciate you guys coming.